By the end of this boring, obligatory intro video, I'll expect you to understand what data modeling is, why we're doing it, and how we work with users to make awesome software. As software developers, the easiest way to build something is to work by ourselves and use our intuition to build what we think will probably work. In doing so, we need to make some assumptions about our users' goals and workflows. When our assumptions are inevitably wrong, this leads to poor design because we failed to understand our real users' needs. Can you think of an example of crappy software you've used that frustrated you? As engineers, the best way we can avoid writing crappy software is to have conversations directly with our users early and often. A simplified way to think about software engineering is that we figure out all the things that our crappy software is required to do, then come up with a crappy design that does those things, then actually write crappy code following that design, and do a bunch of verification or testing to find all the things that are crappy, most of these too late to change before we ship, and finally maintain that crappy software over its lifetime. All these steps are critical and have their challenges. I want to focus on requirements. This is the first place where we make bad assumptions, which then affect everything downstream. How do we get good information to make good, informed decisions on requirements? We believe data modeling is a key part of this exercise. So what is a data model? I would say it's a document of the kinds of things or data categories that the system needs to remember, the differences between these categories and how they relate to each other, and the rules and boundaries that distinguish each instance within a category, which we call identifiers. Now, identifiers is a topic all by itself that will take us weeks to cover in depth, but just to give you a simple example, imagine you're building software for a veterinary clinic. Your customers are pet owners. Does each pet have an account, or does each pet owner have an account? What do you think? Does an account belong to a pet or a pet owner? You could have a family with more than one pet, and you probably want an easy way to retrieve all of that information together. But what if there's more than one responsible adult in the family? Maybe these adults have separate cards that they pay with. Does each person have an account? How do you do joint accounts? What happens when a pet is adopted by a new owner? Is it possible to have a pet with no owner? Is it possible to pre-create an account for a person who has no pets? So the answer is complicated. It depends on many factors, including how do you define these abstract words like account. What is an account, really? As engineers, I expect you all to be asking these kinds of questions. A data model allows us to get past this kind of ambiguity, make some important decisions, and that will help us build software that's much less crappy and will meet the user's needs. To that end, a data model is not just a secret technical document, but in fact is intended to be a very visible anchor point of conversation. We want it to be an artifact of our collaboration with real users. In this class, we will follow a process cycle. We want to arrange a meeting with real users, preferably in a room with a whiteboard, though pencil and paper or digital software can work too. We use a whiteboard to make it clear that what's being written is free to change and everyone is invited to participate in an active collaboration. Over and over, we will follow these high-level steps. We ask a specific question. We allow the users to discuss and answer the question. We make an update to the data model based on their answers. Then, as needed, we read back the change to the model to the users in plain English, and then we can make sure that the users understand and agree with the data model as it is. And we can then repeat as long as time and budget will allow. You haven't seen the details yet, but I want you to understand that this is the process framework that will apply to everything we do in this course. To master this material, or anything in life really, test yourself often. Constantly try to re-summarize or rephrase what you learned in your own notes, or however works for you. See if you can relate what you've learned to your own experiences. See if you can explain what you've learned to someone else in your own words. See if you can apply what you learned in other situations. That means doing more than just the exercises I give you. Come up with your own exercises. For many more tips on successful learning, I highly recommend the book Make It Stick by Peter Brown. Even if you only have time to read the first chapter, it's worthwhile. So here's a chance for you to test yourself in all of the above ways. See if you can answer these questions to check your understanding of this data modeling intro.